throughout this session. There will be pockets throughout the session where we will be asking questions. So please just raise your virtual hand and take yourself off mute. As we can't see everybody in the room while the slides are on, we will be relying on those virtual hands, which Denise will keep an eye out for. And finally, we will be sharing these slides with you following the session. And this session will be recorded. So if anybody doesn't want to be recorded, please can you take yourselves off camera now? Okay. Let's start. Can't move the next slide. Okay. So I've just popped the agenda up here. So you can see the timings and what we're going to be covering in today's session, which is an induction for new career leaders and schools that are new to the hub, and also career leaders who are looking for a refresher. So the aims of this session are to welcome and provide guidance on how we will support you in your new role or recent role as a career leader to really drive systemic whole school change in the field of careers education, information and guidance. To understand the roles of the enterprise coordinator and enterprise advisor in more detail. Learn how to navigate Compass Plus with lots of hints and tips, which will be shared with you, and so that you can really get the most out of the platform. And to share the statutory guidance and some suggestions on where to actually begin in this journey if you are new, or to act as a refresher if you've been in role for quite a while. Okay, so we realised that starting out as a new career leader, or even if you are established in the role, but maybe you're doing this alongside, another role or have 2 hours a week rather than full time, it can be quite overwhelming, especially, in those kind of navigating through the information and with so many companies and providers out there in the space. So we thought it would be really helpful to break down who we are, where we fit into the landscape, and also to share a couple of partners with you and some key actions as well. So the Department for Education funds the Careers and Enterprise Company, known as the CEC. And the CEC are the national body for careers education in England, supporting schools and colleges to deliver up-to-date careers education. And I just want to highlight at this point that your school is not only part of a local network within Barnsley, Doncaster, Rotherham and Sheffield, but also part of a regional and national network. And this adds an extra layer of support to you as a career leader. And throughout the CEC, there are, as you can see, over 40 careers hubs right up and down the country. And this number is growing year on year. And all of you on the call today are part of the South Yorkshire Careers Hub. The Careers Hub sits within a South Yorkshire Mayoral Combined Authority, and we do have a strategic hub lead who will be joining us in about 2 or 3 weeks, which we're all really excited for. He is a career leader and member of SLT within a school in in the area, so we're really looking forward to introducing you to him when he joins. I'm Lauren, the operational hub lead here for the South Yorkshire Careers Hub, and I'll be supporting the team in really helping to drive operational delivery of some of the projects that we've got going. We've got Denise on the call, who's the career support officer and really supports the enterprise coordinators with any engagement with employers and other aspects to the role as well. And the Careers Hub are key to the government's aim to really improve careers education, to really ensure that all young people have a consistent and high quality careers programme throughout their careers institution. And the goal of South Yorkshire Careers Hub is really to make it easier for schools and colleges to improve how they prepare young people for their best next steps. And careers hubs drive progress against the Gatsby benchmarks to really enable schools and colleges and their career leaders to access training and support and to collaborate in a really focused way so that we bring together all best practice and local labour market insights. And then finally, we have the enterprise coordinators in Angela and Helen, Sonia, Julie and Verity, Craig and Sam that sit within each of the 4 local authorities. They all work really closely together to really secure continuity and quality across the region and work directly with you as career leaders. And I really cannot stress enough how key it is to work closely with your enterprise coordinator. Now, as an enterprise coordinator, they're working with a caseload of maybe up to 20 schools. And so any questions that you may have, the answer will be out there in our network, either locally, regionally, or nationally, because we are continually sharing that best practice. So I'd just like to introduce Helen, who is one of the ECs here in South Yorkshire's Careers Hubs. And she will be sharing a little bit more about the role and showing how we can support you and what to expect.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. So I'm Helen. So I'm one of the ECs who covers Barnsley area along with Angela. So I think we've just introduced the other ones, the other lovely ECs. So I don't know if you just want to give Julie away from Rotherham. Sonia, I think, is there from Doncaster. And I think we've got Craig from Sheffield. And I think we've got a couple more ECs, but I'm not sure that they're on the call today. But they're all here to help. So the whole purpose of our role is to try and support you to have a really good careers programme for your young people and your students in school. So the way that we do this is through offering a number of different ways. So firstly, we offer career leader network meetings, which is a chance to share best practice. It's really ironic that a careers leader role can be quite a lonely job, even though you're one of the people in school who's got the most connections with the most number of people, but you're also one of the people who's probably working on this responsibility wise alone. So we're here to sort of help introduce you to other people who are doing the same role, coming across the same challenges, and that can be really beneficial. We also have regular one-to-one careers review meetings, so between ourselves and with you. That's something where we can really look at what support you need from us. It's really in response to your school need. It's really bespoke to you and where you are on your journey. For as far as your careers programme is concerned. And that's why I think we've already mentioned Compass, but that's why the regular completion of Compass is really important. It's such a good requirement because it really helps us to understand where you are and what it is that you need. As far as support for that, we can help you to complete Compass, to get on Compass if you're having any difficulties. We can also, if it's your first Compass, if you're a completely new careers leader, we're more than happy to come and support you to fill that first evaluation in. Any support that we can offer as far as that's concerned. We've also, based on the Compass, this year put together some annual Gatsby benchmark performance reports. It'll become clear what all these things mean. But what we did was we took your last Compass evaluation of where you were and we put together an action plan for you that set out all the different resources and support that's available to help you to meet your next Gatsby, meet all of those benchmarks and just to sort of help with your careers programme. From that action plan, it's a really good opportunity when we have those one-to-one meetings as a starting point for this year to look at where you are and where your priorities are. And again, for us to try and lever in that support, lever in best practice, resources, anything that you might need to try and help you to improve a little bit. We also share lots of information with you. Careers is one of those areas that's just really wide and there's so much information. Sometimes it can be a little bit of information overload. We're here to help, I suppose, with the noise and to help focus a little bit. So we send weekly roundup emails that's got lots of key information. We also help sort of do a little bit of that relationship brokering. If you're completely new to careers or new to this area, as in geographical area, we can try and help with key partners who I'll come on to in a minute and putting those introductions in place and help at the right time, depending on what your need is. We also have lots of different sort of project and resources that we can help with. So labour market information, dashboards, resources. We have projects such as the teacher externships, where we're trying to get some of your curriculum staff out to go into the world of work, come back and bring that learning back into school. And I think Lauren mentioned earlier that Denise helps with our Giving Hour, which is all around helping with your employer engagement needs. So if you let us know what you've got, we've got a group of employers across the region who are keen and happy to be involved in supporting your schools, and we can try and get that message out. So if we think about, like I mentioned, that what we're aiming for is to try and help you to put together a really good careers programme. If we just flick on to the next slide, then a good way to measure it is through the Gatsby benchmarks. So this was established, the Gatsby Foundation did some research, which I always think sounds great. They went out to loads of different countries that were known for having really good careers programs, and took out all of the elements that made a good careers program. That at the moment, they are in the process of reviewing the suitability of the benchmarks. There's been a lot of consultation that's gone out to careers leaders, schools, colleges, but I don't think, I'm looking at my EC colleagues, I don't think that we're expecting there to be a vast amount of change. So it's okay, we don't need to worry too much. So I'll just quickly go through for anyone who's completely new, just what they are. So the first one is around benchmark 1 is a Stables Careers programme. So making sure that you've got good governance in place, that you've got a plan, that you've got that strategic buy-in, and that it's a whole school approach. And then number 2, as I mentioned, learning from careers and labour market information. We can help with that. I know that our colleagues in Doncaster put together a great resource around using LMI, not just to sort of, as I said, we do send it out in our weekly emails, but it's also a really good handbook around how you can make use of the LMI, which is very helpful. And then benchmark 3, that's really about addressing the needs of students. So trying to think about the Gatsby benchmarks, for me, the really good thing about it is the focus on making sure that every pupil has that understanding and has that programme delivered to them. And so that's from students who are accessing your mainstream lessons, but also the ones who aren't. How do we make sure that they're getting that? Because for that group of students, they're actually the ones who might need it the most. Then Gatsby benchmark 4 is about linking curriculum learning to careers. So how is that in lessons? How are students understanding what they're learning, what skills it is delivering, and how they can apply that to their learning? Benchmark 5 is all around encounters with employers. And as I mentioned earlier, we have got some ways that we can try and help with your employer encounters, and shortly going to hear about enterprise advisors as well, who are a huge resource for us and for careers leaders in trying to help to get more employers involved in our careers programs. And then we've got benchmark 6, which is the one possibly the most challenging, around experiences of the workplace. How do we get students out at the moment? Traditional work experience is not happening as much. This is about giving them an experience of the workplace, but it is a bit of a challenge, but it's one that if we will help in any way that we can, I think would be how we describe that one. Then benchmark 7 is around encounters with further and higher education. So how are we getting all the providers in? I meant to mention earlier, but that we also, as ECs, can provide support around any new legislation. So the new provider access legislation that came in around schools, making sure all students know about different pathways, what mandatory sessions you have to put in place for years 8 to 11 and 12 and 13 that are not mandatory to attend. We can help support you with that and sort of navigate around that. We can help with contacts to providers if you're not familiar with them in our area. And then the final one is around personal guidance and making sure that the guidance that's provided to your students is from someone who is qualified to a level 6. It's okay. So as I mentioned, some of the work that we do is around our partners and trying to help to signpost to that. So if you just want to flick back. So these are an example of some of the partners who work all across the region. So HEP is about promoting higher education. So that's our UniConnect project. Then Unifrog Moresby, they're different careers platforms, so we can talk to you about those. They're paid for services. And then we've got NHS social care careers. That's sort of just what it says on the tin, really. They're the schools team that can come out and support specifically around those industries. Panjango is something that is a virtual resource, and we've been doing some work as a team with Panjango to look at doing some virtual tours. So we've got all different kind of things, such as an operating theatre, the Digital Media Centre in Barnsley, where you can sort of travel in virtually and find out what the roles are, what people do, and that gives a bit more in-depth information. But as we discuss with you on an individual basis, we can sort of give you these contacts, give you them when you need them, give you them now, all depending on your need really and where you are in your programme. So we did mention earlier about the Give an Hour campaign. So this is just a bit of an example. If you can provide us with this information, and your local EC will let you know how to do that, the best way for you to do that. We can then share that out across our region with employers who are willing and open to helping and try and promote that as much as possible. And then finally, I just wanted to touch on Ofsted a little bit. So I think when we mentioned, I think Craig?
Yeah, I just want to add for the Sheffield careers leaders, you can access the C2B offer from Graham Booth and Charlotte B. Oak. So that is also aligned with the giving hour. So if you're confused why we've not mentioned that, but the Sheffield careers leaders have access to the C2B offer of that strand for Gatsby 5 and 6.
Thank you. And I think that's right. Yeah. So like I said, for every different out of the 4 regions, as ECs, we'll let you know the best way for you to sort of put together that list of requirements and then share it with either Given Hour or in Sheffield C2B for us to get as many employees involved as we possibly can. So like I said, I just wanted to mention and touch on Ofsted a little bit. So as a careers leader, depending on where you sit within school, so we know that careers leaders can be senior leaders, you might be a careers professional. We're not, there's a middle leader, senior leader. There's a whole range in our region of excellent careers leaders working. So we just wanted to touch on sort of Ofsted requirements. And firstly, just to say that we can help with that. We can help you to get prepared. Careers is referenced throughout all 4 judgment areas, and it's specifically focused in the personal development standard, where it lists Gatsby benchmarks, unbiased information, high quality guidance, and meaningful encounters with the world of work. I think if you look at what Ofsted would be coming in to look at, it really emphasises the importance of careers being a whole school approach. It really looks at, leaders understanding how the careers programme supports their school ambition, how it permeates within the curriculum, and how it can contribute to the development of learnings of their learners, so them understanding what it is that they want to do and why it is that they're doing it and what skills they're developing. But as I mentioned, we can come in and we can help with that. So it's something that we see as a good step that Ofsted are looking at this, because it means that we're getting more support and that there's a bigger emphasis on careers. So I think we'd say it's a positive that Ofsted are coming in and out and looking at this and really focusing on that, because we want schools to be judged on how good their careers programmes are, because we want in our area them to be really good and really robust for our young people. So I think that's it from me. And that was just a little bit about the personal development, but I've covered that as I just rattled on. So thank you.
Thank you, Helen. So Helen just previously touched on that your EC will partner you with an enterprise advisor, also known as an EA. Now, an EA is a business volunteer who works in a senior role within industry, and they volunteer their time to bridge the gap between the world of work and education, working with you as careers leaders and the wider senior leadership team in school or colleges to create opportunities for young people. I guess my advice would be to see them as your critical friend and link to the world of work, who can really support you strategically to ensure that what is being delivered around careers in your school or college is reflective of what's actually happening in the workplace. So I'm just going to stop presenting. And I'm going to invite Saj to join and speak. Saj, I wondered if you could share a little bit about your role and company, why you became an enterprise advisor, and some of the successful ways that you've worked with your career leader, and what advice you would give to career leaders on the session today on how they can best work with their enterprise advisor.
Okay, well, I'll try my best. Thanks, Lauren. I work for Screwfix. I'm a branch manager and also an inclusion ambassador. I'm coming up to my 15th year anniversary next February. So it's a good place to work. Otherwise, I won't be here for this long. Obviously, branch manager, my role is very varied. I've got a team of 15 colleagues, plus as an inclusion ambassador within Screwfix, which is only 22 of us. So I do get to speak to senior leaders within Screwfix as well, and within Kingfisher, which is our parent company. Why did I join the network or become an EA? Main reason was I just wanted to give something back to my local community. I still remember, I'm 53. I still remember, my teachers going back and how influential they were within my life and, what I chose to do. So, that was the main reason why I decided to do it. And I've been doing it for about 3 years. So it was pre-COVID. Obviously, the world changed a lot. So we had loads of different challenges. Obviously, Sonia and Julie came about. Before Sonia and Julie was, who had Danny, who was really supportive. I think she's on, obviously, maternity leave at the minute. And, I joined the network. The induction was really, really good. And the key thing I kind of gauged from that induction was obviously the support I got from the ECs. We had our meetings. They were very structured. They were there supportive with the careers leader, and it was always everything we did was around the Gatsby benchmark. Okay, so everything was so that's key. So and you're not reinventing the wheel, for a better word. It's just using best practice from like I say they go to 20 other schools, so they've seen it before, done it before. So it's all about sharing best practice, and that's what we did. And from my perspective is I'm a fresh pair of eyes, and I will, or the enterprise advisor will come in and look at it from, I don't know, from a layman's perspective. And my wife works in a school, she's a business manager, so I know how busy it is. And I know the time constraints, and I know the financial constraints. Yeah, so I get all that as well. So you kind of have to come in with, with an open mind. And that's all we did, to be honest. We had meetings on Teams like this. Luckily, when we first started, the careers leader, I think, was about to move on somewhere else. So the engagement wasn't the best, which didn't really help the school. But my current careers leader, Catherine, is fantastic. And like, I can't speak highly enough. And I'm sure if anybody needs any help or support, she'll be the first to put a hand up and say, look, and she'll help you in any way she can. Obviously, through the meetings, just be honest, be open. And I say nobody's going to be coming to pick fault or whatever. They're just there as a support network. And the other thing, obviously, when Julie came on board, we decided to get a WhatsApp group going. And that was a huge networking event as well. So it's best practice. There's so much we've actually gauged from each other, shared work experience, shared, all different factors. And then the other key thing for careers leaders, and obviously you mentioned Ofsted towards the end, is you need your senior leadership team involved. And the only way they can get involved is if there's Ofsted involved. Yeah, I'm lucky enough to be now a governor within XP as well. So I'm kind of invested in that as well. But before that, there was a governor who was linked to the careers lead as well. So that really helped. What else is good? We've had hub meetings, which are fantastic. And I've attended quite a lot of those. And again, it's networking events. You can learn from each other, share best practice, get ideas, and just pick each other's brains. And just, you're on the end of a phone call as well. What's gone well for us within XP, we've, like I say, within Screwfix, we used to do what's called an assessment day. So when we open a brand new store, we get about 30 people. So it's a bit like speed dating, a bit like doing sort of so interactive sort of games and things like that. So we did a couple of those, and you get about, I don't know, 20 kids in a class, a bit boisterous, for a better word. And within 10 minutes of the session, it's just like a light switch kind of been turned on, and you've got them engaged, they're helping and supporting each other. And the kind of things we do within those sort of assessment days is it's all about team building. It's all about individual skills. We do one-to-one interviews as well. And like I said, and other sort of enterprise advisors will help and support that, with the given hour sort of concept. And it's been really successful. And like I say, I love doing this role. Otherwise, I won't be on this call. And I think that's me.
I'm just going to open it up then. Has anybody got any questions that they'd like to ask Saj about, or any of the enterprise coordinators on the call today? You know, if they're struggling to connect with their enterprise advisor, or have any questions in general? Sonia?
It was just a comment, really, just obviously to say thank you to Saj, but also to say that we are trying to use the EAs a bit more flexibly. That's something that we want to do, because I know Saj is itching to do more in more schools. So we're really hoping that we can facilitate that, because we've got such a fantastic pool of volunteers. We want to make sure that we're using them all as flexibly as we can. So it was just that, really.
And I've got a question, Saj. What has been, was there any challenges? What has been your biggest challenges on working with a school, and how have you overcome it with the career leader?
I think, like what I mentioned early on, is the original career leader, the engagement wasn't there. Either they were, obviously, I think they were going to be moving to a different role. They probably didn't have the right support. And at the time, you know, Ofsted wasn't, you know, it wasn't mentioned, but now it's part of the Gatsby benchmark. They look at it. And like anything in our work in business, if there's an audit involved, I'll be all over it. And that's what Ofsted is. It's just an audit. So, and you know, once that's on the cards, then your senior leadership will get involved. But I think you keep on banging on the door, and that's it. And use your governors. You know, if you have got a careers lead governor, which I am, luckily, use them and get them involved, get them engaged. We've got an event coming up within XP, which they've got local colleges and schools and whatever presenting in November, you know, so post 16. So they've got that, and, you know, loads of people will be represented there as well, the governors and what have you. So it's just getting as many people involved and engaged as possible. And the parents, they're key.
Brilliant. Any other questions for Saj before we move on to the next section? No? Well, thank you so much, Saj, for joining us today. And we're really looking forward to using the flexible model, as well, as Sonia mentioned, you know, really drawing on the strengths of the enterprise advisors that we've got in the network, and actually using them on the needs that you've got in school or college. So we'll be sharing more information about that as and when that comes to fruition. But no, thank you, Saj, for joining us. Okay, so we're about a third into the session now. Now I am going to just set up the next stage. So if you do want to go and grab a coffee and join us again in 5 minutes, we'll be ready to run the next session. I'm giving a break now because the next. So yeah, I think maybe a cup of tea is maybe going to be useful. So I'll see you back in 5 minutes. But if you could keep your cameras on, that will allow us to just keep everything rolling. So yeah, we'll see you back in another 5 minutes.